Hey Moneymakers, I'm Kalila Reynolds and welcome to another edition of Taking Stock Live, coming to you live and direct from my yard tonight. Having some issues at the studio, so I had to run over to the house and make it in time because as you know, the show must go on. Thank you guys so much for joining me from all over Jamaica and all over the world. Let me know in the comments where you're joining us from. I love to see the diversity in the chat. I love to see the range of places, people joining me from all different time zones, from as far away as China and Australia, here in Jamaica, all over the Caribbean. I just love to see it. It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel important, because we are global. We're worldwide, to the world, they say. Well, tonight we are looking at a company that you may or may not have heard about. It is called MDLink. And they are one of the Caribbean's first telemedicine providers. They've just gotten some capital to expand from Dequity Capital. And this is interesting news. I want to hear more about it, what the implications are. And of course, I know you, our viewers, always want to know about IPO. What are the possibilities of a future listing? And you can also leave your comments in the chat and let us know what you think about that. So we're going to have a lot more coming up in tonight's show. But first, here's a look at what's coming up, followed by what's hot in business. Now, come on, let's get this money.
On this episode of Taking Stock, Dequity Capital just took a 25% stake in online medical services company MDLink. The company wants to expand its telemedicine platform across the Caribbean. How do they plan to accomplish that, and how will they use the funds from Dequity? Founder and CEO of MDLink, Bowen, and Dequity CEO Kadeen Mairs join us to discuss. And the analysts weigh in on the latest market developments. Now that the US has cut its interest rates, should you change your approach to investing in that market? We'll discuss.
Here's what's hot, brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart.
The Financial Investigations Division says it will review the Integrity Commission's report on Prime Minister Andrew Holness's finances and determine if further investigation is needed. The Integrity Commission report was tabled in Parliament last week and raised questions about the Prime Minister's use of funds in regards to one of his charities. The Commission said an investigation by the FID is needed to determine if the alleged use of those funds rises to the level of misappropriation. Tropical Battery is upping its stake in the electric vehicle market by distributing Teslas and other popular electric vehicles. Through its subsidiary Tropical Mobility, the company plans to distribute new and like-new Tesla models, electric buses, electric motorbikes, and electric ATVs. Tropical said it's also training technicians to provide after-sales parts and service. Despite several setbacks, Jamaica has welcomed over 2 million stopover visitors since the start of the year. According to the Tourism Ministry, the island welcomed just over 2 million stopover visitors and some 3 million total visitors, including cruise arrivals between January 1 and September 14 this year. The tourism industry, which boomed post-COVID, has been hit by multiple challenges this year, including travel advisories from the US urging its residents not to visit the island, the devastating impact of Hurricane Beryl, and airlines struggling to meet travel demands. The U.S. Federal Reserve last week announced its much-anticipated interest rate cut. The Fed slashed rates by 50 basis points to a range of 4.75% to 5%. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the move was a recalibration to account for the sharp decline in the country's inflation. Some policymakers say the U.S. Central Bank is likely to do another 50 basis point cut by the end of 2024.
What's hot, brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart.
Before your budget, I was literally flying by the seat of my pants. I did not know what a budget was, and ever since downloading that budget and actually applying it, I paid off my credit card, I paid off my tuition loan, and I bought my first pair of Tory birds.
Hey,
And it was in the budget.
Download my free budgeting template at buildyourbudgets.com.
Let's get this money.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Great to have you. So let me see where you guys are joining from. Let's see. Nana Sens, as usual, is joining us from far, far away. Greetings to you as well. We got Dwight in Spanish Town, who says that he hopes the BOJ will see it possible to cut interest rates by another 25 basis points at the end of the month. When is their next decision due? Is it the end of this month? I'd have to check on that. Sean says good night. SC is joining us from Charlotte, South Carolina. That's where Charlotte is, right? North Carolina? Somewhere in the States. Hello, SC. Colin is joining us from Mandeville. We've got Humble Boss in the Grill. We've got Roger in Philly. We got Jamaican Express in Kingston. Suzanne is all the way in Puerto Rico this evening. Limitless Podcast is in Kingston. Kevoy also in Kingston. Events Photography in Westmoreland. Glamour is in Portland. Where the money boat land. Which money boat that? Leachin's yacht? Or some other money boat. Let me not ask. Don't ask, don't tell. We got Wenford in Mandeville. Life Roots in Mobay. And Peter all the way in New Orleans. Hey, Peter. How's it going over there? Love to see it. Love to see it. All right, let's introduce our guests for this evening. Let's get the show on the road. Some of you may or may not be familiar with MDLink. Like I mentioned, it is an online medical services company, and they've just secured funding from Dequity Capital, and they've given us a 2-year timeline to list on the JSC. So here to tell us more, we have the founders of both companies, Kadeen Mairs from Dequity and Dr. Che Bowen from MDLink. Hi, Kadeen. Hi, Che.
Hi, Kalila. Thanks for having us on tonight.
Hi, Kalila. Nice to be here again.
Yes, I should say welcome back. And not from your car this time, Kadeen. From the comfort of a nice couch this time. We have your full attention. And Che, first time on the show.
Thank you.
Not your first time on social media. I saw you on TikTok in a week with the watch guy stopped you on the road to ask you about your watch. I mean, talk about making it in life.
As soon as you got the investment, Kalila.
that's what you bought with it, Che. You bought the Rolly.
Celebrations. Ready to move forward.
And the guy spotted you quick and easy. Trust me, bust the news. All right, welcome guys to the show. So first, let's start with you, Che, since it's your first time on the program. Tell me a little bit about your background. I know you're a medical doctor, but how did you make this transition into having your own business?
Great question. Yes, I am Dr. Che Bowen. I am actually from Trinidad. I came to Jamaica at age 18 and went straight into med school. After completing med school, I would have tried to go into the specialization programs. I actually wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. So I was trained by one Richard Reynolds.
Richie.
Yes, that was a great.
That's my husband, guys. That's my husband.
That was a great working experience. After which, I actually went off to the British Virgin Islands. I spent some time in St. Lucia also. I was working as a general practitioner, and I thought to myself, how can we? I was actually still seeing patients in Jamaica while in the British Virgin Islands over my phone, and I thought to myself, how can I formalize this? How can I streamline things to make it easier for patients to get access to healthcare online? And we launched MDLink in 2018 and took off since then.
I remember hearing a lot about it during COVID, during the pandemic. Was that really the catalyst for growth for MDLink?
COVID was a good time. I wouldn't say it was the catalyst, but it did help a lot with convincing both the doctors and the patients to use the platform. We were the first to bring telemedicine to the region. And as such, it was a bit, we received a lot of apprehension from all sides, doctors, patients, even the insurance, the pharmacy council. But with the pandemic, they were able to see, hey, this is something that is necessary. It's helping us move forward to a more advanced stage in digital health. And so we were able to move forward using the pandemic.
So tell us more about what MDLink does, or at least how you do it. So telemedicine, is this where you get a diagnosis from a doctor basically through Zoom?
Great question. Yes, it's similar to this, a more secure platform with more privacy included in it. But yes, we have video calls, we have audio calls, we have text messages, and you're able to get healthcare online. That's what it's about. Seeing a doctor online, it doesn't stop there. But you can see a doctor online, speak with them, get feedback on your medical conditions, of course, specific medical conditions that can be treated online. And in turn, you would receive a prescription. You can actually get fully treated online in front of your computer on your phone. This prescription is sent directly to your pharmacy. If you need lab testing, you can also get that online on the platform. And again, the lab prescription or lab request is sent directly to the lab. You can go to the lab, we can come to you. It's all about convenience and increasing access to healthcare, making it more affordable. So that is what, in essence, the MDLink platform is, all your healthcare services online.
You all had, was it you that had the drive-through COVID testing during COVID?
Correct. That definitely was another one of our innovations. So we strive on innovation, we love innovation, and we launched the first drive-through in the region, I would say the Caribbean and Latin America, and it took off. It was necessary. It was affordable, it was convenient, and it went back to our guidelines, our motto of, providing convenient, fast, efficient access to healthcare.
I remember that because I got my drive-through test on the way to the airport. So, at the time you needed a COVID test to travel, and I remember going through the drive-through just
Correct.
before I had to travel.
One of the other innovative things we would have launched during that time is the house call, where we would go to the house and actually test the patient. And that is something that we continue to provide with our lab, our accredited laboratory. We do come to you, we can take off your bloods, your stool, your urine, take it straight to the lab for testing. And you're doing this from the comfort of your home, on your phone. No need to move, no stress. We will come to you. So again, affordable access, convenient healthcare.
I imagine, though, that there are some limitations because you're to telemedicine. Because when I think about going to the doctor's office, doctor have to do a proper examination to look and touch the patient. So what are some of the restrictions, some of the things that you can't do?
100%. So we can handle 90% of the cases that you usually see in urgent care. If we have to refer or come to your house, we can. But in general, telemedicine does come with restrictions. And that's a worldwide situation in that if you have head trauma, if you have loss of consciousness, if you have bleeding, if you have a broken limb, all of these are things that cannot be treated on the platform. And as soon as the doctor notices that this condition cannot be treated on the platform, we instantly refer you to a higher level medical facility, whether it be Winchester Medical or Neo Medical. We have in-network medical facilities that we can send you to. If we have to send you to a public hospital, we can also do that.
All right. So Kadeen, now tell me about Dequity's involvement. What attracted you to invest in this company?
Well, that's a good question. The fact that you asked about, the restrictions of telemedicine, over the last, I'd say 18 to 24 months, Dequity, we have invested, I'd say about 2.3 billion in healthcare. We've acquired 2 physical hospitals. We acquired Royal Medical in Sav. That's a hospital, and Winchester Surgical and Medical in Kingston. Now, as we continue to invest in healthcare, these are physical hospitals where, Dr. Bowen just mentioned, where they'll refer you to for certain cases. These physical hospitals would have, lab. You can get a CT scan and X-ray, depending. You can see a physical doctor there. There are operating theaters. You can also do physical lab testing there as well. What we wanted to do was create a full ecosystem for healthcare. Accessing physical structures like a traditional hospital sometimes can be challenging, especially if in a rural area, if you're far away. When we did our research, we realized that there are common illnesses that can be treated online, and that kind of opened our eyes in terms of telemedicine and the solution that it can provide when you collaborate traditional healthcare physical structure with digital healthcare. So for example, there are like 3 things that a doctor can see you online. Typical 3 stuff would be like a UTI, yeast infection. If you suspect that you might have a STD, you can always speak to a doctor online quickly and get a recommendation, or the doctor can even write a prescription for you to pick up. Things like these, you don't need to go to a public hospital or come to a physical hospital to get treated for. Also, with MDLink having Fleet, which is their subsidiary that does lab, Fleet can come to your house and they can do a panel test to test for everything that you can know. Your doctor can discuss the results with you online through telemedicine. So it's all about, for us, how do we create a full ecosystem for healthcare that increases the level of care that is provided here in Jamaica. One, increases accessibility, affordability, and just efficiency. So for us, investing in MDLink is like the missing part of the equation for us for healthcare. And there are a lot of ideas that Che also has, including in the pharmacy side of the business, that we'll be looking into some of our investment going towards as well.
So you mentioned a couple of things that I want to expand upon. So one, that you do have other investments in healthcare, including the hospital in Westmoreland. And I see a question here coming from Learn, Grow, Invest. Are there collaborations planned for any companies within the portfolio for Dequity and MDLink? So how do you envision your other healthcare investments working with MDLink?
Before I came on this call, I said to Che, when you come on Khalila's show, she's going to dig into your strategy, so you have to know how you deliver the strategy. But naturally, that is the idea. We're definitely in the near future, we'll see more of a combine, some mergers, some that will take place, that will help to grow both entities. So yeah, in the near future, that's definitely a part of our strategy.
So the other question, and yes, we will dig into the strategy, we dig into everything and all the numbers, which we're coming to as well. And it's not just me, Che, it's the viewers. Notice that the question came not from me, but from one of the viewers.
Yes.
I have bright people who watch this show. So the other one was Fleet Diagnostic, which was acquired in 2022. Another question from a viewer, this one from Limitless Podcast, who wants to know which divisions of Fleet Diagnostics Lab are accredited.
That's a great question, and we are one of, I believe, 4 accredited medical laboratories on island in the nation. What accreditation means is that we have to follow a strict rule of protocols and policies to operate our lab and ensure the results are very accurate. That being said, the lab in itself will continue to Khalila, I think I need you to re-ask the question for me. Sorry.
I don't even remember what the question was.
I think
how many are accredited?
Yeah, he was asking about the accreditation. So Fleet is accredited. Yeah.
Correct. So, our entire laboratory is accredited. That includes our chemistry, our hematology, our special chemistry, even our microbiology. It's accredited. by Jana.
All right. Okay. So reading through or scanning through the Art Today article about the investment, I'm doing some quick mental maths and I'm coming up with a figure of $112 million invested by Dequity into MDLink. Am I on the right track, Kadeen?
Yeah, you're on the right track. Your math is,
Math is mathin'. So
right.
what's the objective? Because I see in the article as well, it's saying that the plan is to get to IPO within 2 years and also to increase the company's valuation to $1 billion within the next year and a half. So how do you get there from where you are today?
So if Che wants me to start with some of the
Plans?
some of the plans, Kalila, we're definitely looking at going into the pharmacy space, especially because what happened is that MDLink has hundreds of doctors who are seeing thousands of patients, and what happened is that these doctors are writing prescriptions. So this provides an opportunity for MDLink now to enter the space to help to meet the needs of these drugs that patients might need access to. So we might be looking at partnerships with existing pharmacies, or in some cases acquire pharmacies or start pharmacies of our own. So that's kind of like one of the plans that we have as well, outside of the platform itself and the marketing that will go into growing to other regions outside of Jamaica.
So again, to double what Kadeen is saying, the MDLink platform, it's a link to MD, where MD is the medical side of it, the medical industries. And as such, we're going to build out the platform in such a way that it connects and forms a hybrid medical situation whereby we will tap into different industries, whether it be medical testing, online pharmacy, even online health store, health products. It's a few different directions that we have planned out to take it. And again, what a good way to look at the direction we're going is similar to Amazon. We would have launched before Amazon got into it, but Amazon is putting their foot heavy into healthcare. And again, it all connects back to the platform. So that's kind of what we want to bring to the Caribbean.
Exciting and interesting. Let me take some of our comments from the viewers, and I know we have quite a few questions from viewers as well. First of all, Lorna bigging you up, saying that she knows you from BVI. Shells making a point that Shells, you got jokes. Shell says AI is going to allow them to push their hands through the screen and touch and feel the patient.
Good.
Question coming from Limitless Podcast. What role do you see artificial intelligence and machine learning playing in MDLink's future development?
This Limitless Podcast is a smart guy, man. Definitely, healthcare is head on into artificial intelligence and machine learning, and I do believe that it's going to come to a point where artificial intelligence will be able to make the doctor visits quicker, faster. We'll be able to connect with doctors that have artificial intelligence that aren't actual doctors. They'll be able to sift through the algorithms and provide us with answers that we can then deploy to our patients. And it would, again, it's definitely the direction that MDLink is heading. It's the future of healthcare, it's digital health. And I foresee in the future that even something as simple as radiology, eventually there will be artificial intelligence replacing that. So it will be done in such a way where, you won't need the human doctor medical interaction, at least in the initial stages. As it gets more complex, of course, you will still need doctors.
Yeah, I tell Richie all the time that, surgeons are highly prized, but between robotics and AI coming together, I feel like you guys will soon be out of a job.
Not the digital health, no. But doctors in general, yes, it does look interest in the future. I don't think they'll be able to replace them completely because of the emotional aspect that's involved, and then even mental health, which is something that MDLink is going to dive again head into to bring out these digital health, mental health services to the Caribbean. America has been doing it for years and it's helping them. We have the same mental health issues in the Caribbean. We just ignore them, cover our eyes, and let whoever has to suffer, suffer. So we will be bridging that gap and helping patients connect with psychologists, mental health therapists to really cope with the stresses of social media and everyday modern life.
Right. Mental health is a low-hanging fruit, I would say, because that's one that you don't necessarily need to feel and touch. You can do that virtually, and I've seen that in action, being very efficient and very effective.
Correct. So we do have a nice strategy to launch it throughout the nation and the Caribbean islands to start.
How many doctors do you have on board now?
Right now we have about 300 to 350.
Wow.
Correct. And we have not been pushing the growth of that as yet, but it is in the plans to get more doctors on board through the region. We really want to partner and work with doctors to provide them with the tools and the services that they need to, take over this modern healthcare that is inevitable.
So we touched on the IPO earlier, saying that you guys want to be ready for IPO by 2026, 27. So within 2-3 years, thereabouts. What are some of the benchmarks that you want to hit in order to be ready for listing?
I think I can touch on that. I think, this investment, Khalil, I've been talking to Che. Probably is one of the hardest investments for Dequity to get. I've been talking to Che for probably 3 years or 4 years to let us come on board. Everything with time. But I think the strength that we have that Che saw value in is just in terms of the corporate governance and structure that we will bring forth. Being a publicly listed company, you have a lot of responsibilities, reporting responsibilities, financial responsibilities. And I think with our back office and our experience, Che saw where we would have added value, not just capital. And we also are very interested in the space. So in terms of the benchmarks or the milestones that we want to hit, of course, in terms of listing on a stock exchange, what's important to us is not even revenues, but profitability of the company, and because that's what we're going to use a multiple of your profits in order to determine a valuation to list on a stock exchange. So we definitely want to expand different avenues of the business. Those will be different milestones, whether it's on the lab side, on the mental health side, on the pharmacy side. Each of these different aspects of the digital health side of business, we will have different rollout periods, which you will see probably in the next 4 months, the first one being rolled out. These would be basically the benchmarks, as you mentioned, that you will witness to determine if we're hitting our goal within that time. We've set it for 24 months. Hopefully we can achieve it before then. But of course it takes time. Outside of the business itself is very important that the foundation of the company is steady. The team is there, that Che has good support, good HR, good accounting, a solid board of directors that can help with the governance of the company, things like that we'll be announcing soon. So those are just some of the things that we're working on.
All right, so I'm going to take a couple more questions from the audience before we wrap, and there are a few questions there for you too, Kadeen, regarding Dequity. So it's not just about MDLink tonight, but first, why? Let me see, which one should I take? All right, actually, yeah, let's go with the questions for Kadeen. So Ryan wants to know, do you expect Ultra Financier to list on the JSE before the end of 2024?
Why you guys ask questions that you have the answer for all the time?
So what's
Kalila?
the answer?
I mean, anything is possible. You know, we live in a world of endless possibilities. With hard work, anything is possible.
2024 is your target?
I mean, I can't say. I mean, as you know, I'm just you know, I'm no longer day-to-day in the operations of Dollar nor its subsidiaries, so I won't be able to comment. I'm just a director and a chairman here and there, so I'd allow the management to speak on that.
Well, you are day-to-day with Dequity. You're here representing Dequity tonight. The next question comes from Philip, who wants to know, when is the Dequity IPO?
So I can answer this one. So for us at Dequity, we have to have a proof of concept. We have all these portfolio companies. We have another acquisition to announce soon. So what happened is similar to MDLink, whether it's Royal Medical Group or Elite Concept and Solutions, all of our portfolio companies, the aim is always to grow them, build them, list them, and hold. But we have to prove that concept first. We've proved the concept when it comes to acquisition, but can we prove the concept in terms of having a blueprint to lead these entrepreneurs to their dreams of having a listed company? I mean, I've done it for myself, but have I done it for somebody else? Not yet. I mean, I've made promises to check on other entrepreneurs that I work alongside them to get them there. I think as soon as we can hit 2 consistent IPOs as Dequity, I think that Dequity can start looking at raising its own capital to continue to do what they do, which is, you know, invest in SMEs and grow them to, you know, be a listed company. So in terms of timeline, in terms of wanting to list, naturally, yes. It would be definitely like a main market listing. We've grown our asset under management now at Dequity. It exceeds 40 million US now. So I think as soon as we can execute on 2 listings, we'll start thinking about listing ourselves.
That's how you do it. On to the next one. Kadeen say, a question coming from Instagram from Dr. Garth McDonald, OBGYN, who says, great concepts. Will Fleet set up shop at doctors' offices have pharmacy space too? And he says, we need to talk.
We definitely need to talk. Fleet has been setting up offices throughout the nation. Jamaica, we're in St. Thomas, Portland, Mandeville, Draxall, Ocho Rios, a few locations in Kingston, and we will definitely be continuing to expand in that light. In terms of the pharmacy space, not quite putting pharmacy spaces in doctors, but also yes, because we are venturing off into the online pharmacy realm, and we do have a lot of strategies and concepts to put in place in that regard, whereby doctors will have an online pharmacy in their offices for their patients, and patients will also have access to that online pharmacy. So we definitely need to talk, Dr. McDonald.
Awesome. All right. Anything else you guys want to mention before we head to break? Let me give you the last word. Kadeen, you go first, and then Che will have the last word.
I mean, last words. I'm not very good when you put me on the spot with the last words. But yeah, I encourage everybody to download the MDLink app. It's always good to have ready access to a doctor. I use it a lot as well. Not to say that I need to, but
is it a subscription, or is it you pay as needed?
You pay as needed. You pay as needed.
For now.
Let's stay tuned. Yeah, and for me, like somebody like me who's under constant stress, I'm really waiting on Chet to launch the really launch out similar to like Better Help in the States, where you have all these online, you can have, you know, your online therapy sessions and speak to medical therapists, etc. I'm really looking forward to that, and I encourage everybody to download the app and utilize the services.
Awesome. Che?
I would say that download the MDLink app, log on to the website, themdlink.com. I do feel very confident with this partnership with Dequity Capital. They kind of bridged the gap that we needed. They're assisting our weaknesses. So now we're a really strong team, and I look forward to what we have in store, our plans and our executions that will really continue to change the face of digital health in Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Che Bowen, Kadeen, Mairs. We are going to our first break, but before that, we have our poll question for this evening. So let me bring up our poll question. Right, so here we go, guys. Our poll question for this evening. What do you think about the Integrity Commission's report on Prime Minister Andrew Holness's business dealings? Okay, because this story was just about a week ago. I think it was tabled in Parliament last week, Tuesday, so we didn't really get a chance to talk about it here. What do you think about the Integrity Commission's report on Prime Minister Andrew Holness's business dealings? A, he should resign. B, it's a political witch hunt. C, I don't really understand it. D, I don't care. Or E, other, leave a comment. What do you think about the about Integrity Commission's report into the PM's business dealings? Leave your answer in the chat, and you can take the poll over on the community tab of our YouTube channel or on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Up next, we've got your market recap. And I would say the analysts are standing by, but guess what? It's me. I'm the analyst tonight, and I'm standing by.
The JC Combined Index was mostly flat last week. 124 stocks traded across the main and junior markets for the week ending Friday, September 20, 2024. 47 made gains, 59 lost value, and 18 stayed the same. 264 million shares changed hands on the Jamaican dollar market, valued at $1.3 billion. Trans-Jamaican was the week's most traded stock. It lost 6 cents to open the week at $3.25. Radio Jamaica traded at the second highest. The stock gained 8% to open Monday at $1.12. And Wigton rounded out last week's most traded with 12 million shares changing hands. The stock started the week at 98 cents. Now let's see who had the biggest gains for the week. CAC 2000 was the market's biggest gain, up 15.5%. Indus Pharma was the week's second biggest gain, up 13%. And the Cygnus Real Estate Financial JMD rounded out the week's biggest gainers, up 11%. On the losing side now, Cygnus Real Estate Finance USD was the week's biggest loser. The stock lost 33% to open Monday at 6 cents US. 138 Student Living Variable Preference was down 28%, and Margaritaville Turks USD lost 2 cents to close the week at 8 cents US. Over on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, the composite index lost 8 points last week, or about 1%. Massey was the most traded stock. The stock's price was unchanged at $3.60 TT. Trinidad and Tobago NGL was the biggest gain of the week. The stock gained 18 cents to start the week at $4.68 TT. And on the losing side, Unilever Caribbean fell 9% to open Monday at $10.38 TT. Over in the US, the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 were both up 1.5% last week, while the Nasdaq gained 2%. At the pumps, gas prices were up 25 cents last week, while diesel prices fell 91 cents and low-sulfur diesel dipped $1.05. In foreign exchange, it took an average $158.64 Jamaican to purchase $1 last Friday. That's 12 cents more than the week before. Meanwhile, it took an average $116.94 Jamaican to purchase $1 Canadian. One British pound cost on average $210.94 Jamaican, and you could buy €1 for $179.47 Jamaican on average. Finally, on the crypto markets, Bitcoin prices are up 3% over the past 5 days, trading at $63,498 US on Monday. While Ethereum prices were mostly stable, trading at $2,357 US on Monday.
What? It's in the budget. 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 Download my free budgeting template at buildyourbudgets.com.
Let's get this money.
Disclaimer. This is not intended as financial advice. Please consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Welcome back. Before we get started, let me take some of your responses to our poll question for this week, which had to do with the Integrity Commission's report into Prime Minister Andrew Holness's business dealings. Let's see what y'all are saying. Philip says it's much ado about nothing. Orville says him for resign. And so different perspectives. Nana Sen says IC report is a solid waste of time, nothing more than a political witch hunt. Strong Link says B was the witch hunt as well. So opinions vary on this one, on the PM's Integrity Commission report. Now, we were supposed to have a guest analyst this evening. We had a last minute cancellation. So that segment, well, let me not say the segment is not going to happen. Our guest is not here, but I am here with you, and I have a couple of things that I do want to talk about with you, and I want your perspectives on. Some of them are, or at least one of them is a housekeeping matter. Two of them are housekeeping matters, actually. One is a response to this young lady, Tamika, that I see in the comments. And some of you are telling me that I should block her, block the bot, or block this person. And you're expressing concern about what she was saying in the comments. And I said, no, we're not going to block her because this is a teaching opportunity. So Tamika came on in the chat and said, I got scammed by you today. You, Mrs. Reynolds, let me invest my money into Platinum Edge Block Trader. I spent my last money and you assured me that this platform was legit. Now, this young lady has emailed me, and I've responded to her via email as well. She emailed me yesterday asking, when is the meeting? And I responded, what meeting? And then she said the meeting with, and she called a name. And I was like, it was an acronym, 3 letters. I can't remember what the letters are. And I was like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what that is. And then she sent me a bunch of screenshots from a conversation with a person who I suppose was purporting to be me, and talking about some cryptocurrency investment and how she must send the money, and she was trying to cash out of the account that she had apparently invested in, and it seems that she had no way to cash out of this account. And I politely informed her that she was scammed, that there are multiple people online pretending to be me. And it's not that I have not come on this show every single week and told you guys the same things. That I am very surprised that she actually does watch Taking Stock, because she's here in the comments on Taking Stock. But clearly you don't watch it the whole way through, or you just come in and out, or you saw that I was live and you took the opportunity to come on. Because every single week on the show, I tell you guys a million times that I do not trade cryptocurrency. I do not trade stocks on behalf of people. I'm not affiliated with any Platinum Edge block trader or whatever that is. The only thing that I sell is courses through moneymissionja.com. And you can see all of my official websites, all of my official platforms. So the correct place for you to go right now with this information is to the police. Take your screenshots and send them to the police. And I'm 100% sure that when you look at the phone number affiliated with that WhatsApp number that you've been communicating with, I'm sure it's not even a Jamaican phone number. Probably not even a Jamaican phone number. So what gives you the confidence to believe that you have been communicating with me. And he said that you met this person on TikTok. I am going to show you something right now, Miss Tamika, and to the rest of you who are so gullible and so easily scammed. I'm going to show you something right now on TikTok. I will share my screen with you. Present, share screen. So this is a
Looks like
teachable moment. I hope you're seeing my screen. This is TikTok right now. I'm going to search for my name, Kalila Reynolds. So you see my official page comes up, 180,000 followers. Where we go to users. Okay, so I don't see it coming up on here on the online version. Probably I have to use the web version. Sorry, the phone version. But usually when you search for my name, you find literally over 100 impersonators. And you can take out your phone right now and try it for yourself. Go on TikTok, type in Kalila Reynolds, and then click on users. And you will find, you will just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And it's never ending. I can show you on Instagram. Let's go to Instagram instead, because I made a video about it and I even pinned that video to my profile just to let people know. So here is the video. And this one was the one with the one where they said that that made up an entire fake conversation with me and Michael Lee Chin. Is there a way to scroll through this video so that I don't have to go through the whole thing? It doesn't seem that there's a way to scroll through it. Let's go back to TikTok and see if I can find that one on TikTok, because it also should be pinned there as well. Let's go back on TikTok. It's just amazes me how you guys continue to fall for the scams. And the worst part is that, I have legitimate opportunities to show you how to invest, but you don't want to take those. You don't want to take the time to learn how to invest. You'd rather give somebody your hard-earned money and have that person steal your money than you take the time to learn how to invest. And I've had people straight up tell me that. Like, people email me and say, can you invest this money for me? And I'm like, I don't do that. I'm not licensed to do that. I cannot and will not do that. And I said, what you can do is you can take this course, you can learn how to invest, learn the basics, and learn how to do this for yourself. And they're like, no, I just want to give somebody my money to do it for me. And then you give somebody your money and you get scammed. So that's how that goes. Let me stop sharing because I can't find what I was looking for. But you guys get the point. So Tamika, I'm sorry you lost your money. Make a report to the police. Stop coming on here and trying to scandal my name and libel me, because that was not me. I have said it a million times to the moon and back that I do not do trading on behalf of other people. And I especially do not do cryptocurrency. I barely even talk about cryptocurrency, much less invest cryptocurrency for people. Be wary of the scammers. Stay safe, guys, online. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about is a couple of things that happening in the economy. I saw this article. Wait, hold on. Let me look at the comments here. Clarissa says, don't share any more information. They can steal all your information and impersonate you. What you see is what you get. Electra says, this person is trying to scam you. Quite possibly. That is quite an option, because if she really knew who you are, this wouldn't have happened to her. That's true. Maybe she is trying to scam me, trying to get me to feel away and to give her money. Now, why on earth would I do that? Garvin said people need to be more responsible with their money. Yep, absolutely. Don't share. Be careful they go steal your content, i.e. your pictures. I mean, at this point, that is inevitable. My pictures, my videos, they steal them all. I would not be surprised if the next step is the deep fakes using my voice. And that is something that you guys really need to be aware of, because the technology is out there to do that, to create a fake video of me saying, give me your money to invest in cryptocurrency, even though I've said a million times, I don't do that. So be very, very wary of that. And then they want to tarnish your good name. Yep, strong link. Clarissa says that might not even be a real Tamika. Well, she emailed me using that same name, so I don't know. Inga Baby says people just don't listen. All right, so next thing I wanted to talk about. Yeah, Clarissa says, I saw a deep fake where a lady was scammed by a deep fake of Elon Musk. All right, so the next thing was this article that caught my attention from R Today. Let me share it. Share screen. Jamaican financial institutions cutting back on new loan disbursements will hurt the economy. And I was like, they're cutting back on new loans? So what is going on here? And that's a picture of Keith Duncan, chairman of EPOC. So it says, Jamaican financial institutions have had a tough year. They have had to contend with a high interest rate regime, elevated inflation, mark-to-market impacts, asset tax, a flat equities market, a decline in consumer spend. A cursory look at earnings reports over the last 6 months tells the story. And I can tell you that is a fact as well. Now comes news from EPOC that disbursements of new loans to the private sector in June 2024 declined by $17.4 billion. And the significance of that, it is almost 24%. That's a big decline compared to June 2023, bringing the total for April to June to 185 billion, down from almost 190 billion for the same quarter in 2023. So what that is saying, the private sector has less access to capital, less access to loans right now. According to EPOC, the quarter's reduction stemmed from an almost 18% decline in credit to business across all productive sectors except agriculture. I'm guessing agriculture was spared because they needed it after burial, and demonstrates the impact of the BOJ's ongoing tight monetary policy over the past 3 years. However, this was partially offset by a almost $14 billion increase in credit to individuals. So they're lending to people on an individual level. That has actually increased, maybe because time's harder, I don't know. But lending to businesses has decreased. The productive sector should be the engine of growth of the Jamaican economy, and that engine has to be fueled by capital. You have a picture of Auburn Hill there, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. And he's saying that SMEs should step up and play a bigger role in Jamaica's economy. But then how will they step up if they're getting less access to credit? And he says these businesses will need funding for goods and services, machinery, inventory expansion. In short, backing from Jamaican financial institutions. Exactly the point I was just making. If there is a significant slowdown in new loan disbursements, this will negatively impact growth. Already, tourism and remittances are down. And need I remind you that tourism and remittances are two of the largest contributors to Jamaica's economy. If I remember correctly, each of these contributes about 20% of Jamaica's GDP. That's money sent home by family and friends abroad and tourism. These are two massive sectors of the economy, and these are down. And now we're seeing that productive sector essentially is down as well because they're not getting the access to the capital that they need. With financial houses taking a reticent view on loan disbursement, Jamaica will become an even more difficult place to do business. Seems obvious, right? Last month, the BOJ magnanimously, fun use of word there, reduced its policy rate by 25 basis points to 6.75%. This week, the Federal Reserve's benchmark short-term rate came down by 50 basis points and is now in the 4.75% to 5% range from a 23-year high of 5.25 to 5.5%. The Fed cut rates for the first time in 4 years. And if you remember at the end of last week's Taking Stock, we were talking about that. What was the Fed going to do? And we were even debating, how much percentage points or how many percentage points or basis points the Fed was going to cut those interest rates by, 25 being on the conservative side, 75 being on the higher side, the more ambitious side, and then 50 being, I guess, right there in the middle, and they went for 50. I said that I thought it would be no less than 50, so 50 to 75, they went with 50. And lots of excitement, as you can imagine, in the financial world following that announcement last week, Wednesday. And then the article continues, many see this as a signal that the BOJ should go further at the end of this month with a reduction of 50 basis points. And thanks to Philip in the chat, who reminded me that the BOJ's next policy rate decision is due on September 30. So yes, that is within a few days. Today's the 24th. So next week, Monday, is the date of that announcement. So let's see how the BOJ responds and if they are going to do another interest rate cut, and if it will be as aggressive as this article is suggesting, 50 basis points. The BOJ may view that as a tad optimistic, given an uptick in inflation, which is now outside the 4 to 6% band. Indeed, that is something for us to consider, because remember that the impact of Hurricane Beryl is only now being reported in the numbers. Yes, we've been seeing the $1,000 tomato and sweet pepper in the supermarkets, but remember that there is a lag between the time that we experience it and the time that the data is collected and reported to us in the public. So those numbers coming in for July and August are just now being reported officially. And so now the BOJ has the task of responding to that via its next policy rate decision. And they have indeed a difficult decision to make because of everything that's going on in the economy. All these points being raised by Keith Duncan and Auburn Hill and so many people in the financial sector who have been clamoring for the interest rates to come back down. And inflation has finally been coming back down, only for inflation to go back up because of Hurricane Beryl. So let's continue with the article. The BOJ may view this as optimistic, given that inflation is now outside the band. It realizes that it has trouble playing its part in spurring growth, but is cognizant that it has to suppress runaway inflation. And inflation, I would venture to say, is issue number one right now for the Jamaican public and also for the Jamaican voting public. Because you see where the politics is right now? The JLP is now behind in the polls. And so this is going to become a hot political issue, because even though we've been praising Nigel Clark, who's now moving on to the IMF, for the macroeconomic stability and the numbers that we've been seeing, the debt coming down, the investments in roads and so on, and all the things that have been achieved on the macro side, when it boils down to it, what voters care about, what we care about, is our own pocket. How does this affect me on a personal level? And the thing that is affecting most people on a personal level right now is inflation. Cost of living gone up. Food prices are so expensive. Rent gone up. Maybe turn into Shaba rice. Gone up. Flour stepping up. Everything I raise up. One add up. Now raise the price add up. Pull up. School fees gone up. But the food prices is the one. Transportation prices. The food prices, though. Every time I go to the supermarket, it's like, how much is it going to be this time? Do I have to put back anything? Because it's just gotten so insane. And as this becomes a political issue, even though we now have the separation of the Bank of Jamaica from the government, these two are not supposed to influence each other. The government is not supposed to have influence on the BOJ. The BOJ is 100% independent. Who knows what political pressures are exercised behind the scenes as well? There is pressure to do something about inflation because this is something that the people are feeling. I saw a video on TikTok today with Donald Trump going to a supermarket. Now, if there's one thing about Trump, he knows how to pander to the citizens, the proletariat, right? And so he went into a supermarket and he's looking at the cost of goods and pretending to be, shocked at how much things cost. But he knows that that is issue number one for the American public as well, the cost of living. Things have just gotten so expensive. And it's a major political issue, both in the United States and here in Jamaica. So the article here continues, the dilemma of the BOJ, it will have to figure out that balancing inflation with, this whole thing about interest rates. Jamaican financial institutions have to date not reduced their rates, but have put up fees despite the signal from the central bank. Not reduced their rates, but have raised fees. So yes, we've seen reports of those fees going up yet again. They might not have raised the rates, but they raised their fees despite the signal from the central bank. And I did say that the central bank reducing that policy rate by just 25 basis points is very modest, and we're not likely to see the impact of that very soon, certainly not this year. These banks and lending houses have their part to play and should not make the sole determination the cost of doing business. The BOJ will watch the spread between its rate and that of the Federal Reserve. Will it look to bring it back in line to where it was before COVID, bearing in mind it has a lot more reserves? The BOJ can become more aggressive around monetary policy easing, but will it be comfortable with such a move? There are those who share the sentiment of Chairman of Mayberry Investments, Christopher Berry, who says, time for a 150 basis point drop before the economy craters. That's a very ambitious number, Chris Berry. Berry would no doubt agree with Dan Irvin of Forbes, who writes about the Fed's rate cut. The robust rate cut could stimulate investment, spur consumer spending, and reinvigorate economic activity, fostering a more favorable environment for financial markets. Which brings me to a question, I should say. What is the reason for these banks not lending as much to the private sector? Is it that the private sector is not requesting money as much? Have they reduced their borrowing needs because of where interest rates are? They don't want to borrow that much right now? Or is it that the banks are not lending as much because they don't want to take on the risk of lending right now, and they are not approving as many loans or not approving the amounts that are being requested? So I feel like more data is needed for us to better understand what is going on. Why has the lending declined? All right, so where's the Dan Irvin from Forbes saying the rate cut could stimulate investment, spur consumer spending, etc. Forbes's Rohit Arora adds, lower interest rates will lead to reduced interest payments for small business owners and could free up money for consumers that are hurting badly with all the credit card delinquency and with auto loan delinquency at record levels. Interestingly, I just read an article on, CBS. The Fed made its big cut on Wednesday. These products are already offering lower rates. So whereas the pass-through in Jamaica takes months to years, in the United States, we're seeing the impact coming almost immediately. The Fed made its cut Wednesday, and what day was this article published? The 24th, today. This article was published less than a week after the Fed made its interest rate cuts. made a jumbo rate cut on Wednesday as the central bank said it now wants to ease up on the economic brakes. That decision is already trickling down into lower rates on some lending products, potentially providing financial relief to millions of Americans. As of Monday, American Express and US Bank have lowered the offered APRs on several credit cards on their websites by 50 basis points, half a percentage point, which is the same amount as the Fed's rate cut last week, according to Lending Tree credit analyst Matt Schultz. Mortgage rates also dropped last week, decreasing to their lowest point since February 2023, according to Freddie Mac. So that pass-through is pass-throughing. That pass-through is coming in America. Meanwhile, over in Jamaica, it basically never happens. Oh, why is the screen looking like that? It's so small. I thought you guys were able to see along with me. Okay. But anyway, I'm going to stop sharing that screen now because I think I've pretty much made the point. The pass-through is pass-throughing over in the United States. Over here in Jamaica, we are not seeing much of an impact. And indeed, it is time for us to start getting some relief. But we need relief on both fronts. And how is that possible? How is that achievable? Because we want interest rates to come down, but we also want inflation to come down. We want both things to exist and to happen at the same time. And so the central bank has this very difficult job of trying to somehow achieve both things and please both parties. Who do you please more? Do you please the business community at the expense of the ordinary person who cares more about inflation because the cost of living is just licking them over, especially in a time when we are rapidly approaching political season. General elections are coming due soon, next year. Constitutionally due 2025, but you've been hearing the reports, the polls are out, things are getting hot. And so these are going to be and already are hot political issues. All right, let me see some of your comments. And I also want to tie this into another point that I need to make about how we're doing at Money Media and a poll that I put out earlier this evening as well. So let me see some of the comments because a lot of you are weighing in. So Ricardo wanted to know, will all of this lead to a recession? There have been talks for some time in the US. It hasn't materialized yet. Strong Link wants to know, what if Trump wins with his tariffs? Remittances will dry up even more. Florida, Kingston 26, real estate market bubble bursting. I saw a video, a TikTok again. I've been on TikTok a lot these past couple of days. Somebody posted a video saying, me waiting on Jamaica's real estate bubble to burst since 2020, and it just it just keeps going up. It doesn't come down. Life Roots, is this a plan to get rid of the SMEs? This is serious. I don't think anybody wants to get rid of the SMEs. We all know SMEs are the lifeblood of our economy. They represent the majority of businesses in Jamaica and the majority of employment in Jamaica. Strong Link says, inflation all over the world. Roswell, I have cash flow business, not a 9 to 5, so then I can pay myself on time to meet demand. It's good for you, Roswell. Strong Link says, Trump going to McDonald's to serve fries. Did he? I don't know. If he did, I didn't see that one. That one missed me, but I did see him in the supermarket buying groceries and talking to people. Life Root says, food prices are out of reach for the average person. And that's just a fact. The prices are insane. Garfield says, if the IG probe was on a lesser person, those rubbishing it would say they did a good job. It's the Integrity Commission, IC probe. Most national issues in Jamaica are looked at with a partisan political eye. Roswell says, things will get expensive. That's why the concentration can't be on just working hard. We won't catch up with movement in food price with regular working hours. Invest. Strong Link saying, put more pressure on the dollar if rates are cut too deep. And we've seen how the dollar's been moving. 160 is very close. And the BOJ, I feel like they've been trying their best to keep it below 160, but it's been inching in that direction. Terry says politics and popularism is the order of the day in this silly election season, so don't expect any major movements in the Jamaican financial sector, i.e. interest rate cuts, etc., etc. Lots of things going on. Sean says the BOJ seriously needs a heavy rate cut. Jamaica is not the same as the US, and we don't have the same experience or history to know the consequences of what the BOJ does. So this could end badly. Yeah. So, which brings me to that poll that I posted. I don't know how many of you saw it in your email. I should go check, what the results of the poll are so far, or saw it here on YouTube or on Twitter. But I was asking, if it came to it, and you guys are my OGs, those 120 of you watching right now live, the number is about the same every week. So I know you are the ones who are loyal to this show. You've been here from day one. If it comes to it, and we need to start charging to produce this show, how much would you be willing to pay? Charging to view the show, I should say, not produce it. How much would you be willing to pay on a monthly subscription? And the reason that I bring up this question is that we're at a point right now in the business, in money media, that we have to consider all options. We have to consider revamping our entire business model, because the show is getting more and more expensive to produce, while on the other hand, our traditional means of monetization, which is the advertisers and the sponsors, that has been dwindling. It's been harder and harder to get sponsors and advertisers to come on board. As a matter of fact, our sponsorship has been cut in half since last year, but our production costs have gone up. The landlord just raised the rent for this production studio. As you all know, electricity prices have gone up. So our last light bill was insane. What else gone up? Digicel gone up, raised their prices for both internet and cell phone. All the means of production that we use, so StreamYard, which is a streaming service that we use to send this production to YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, they just doubled their prices. Canva, which is the software that we use to create our graphics, all those nice graphics that you see in Market Recap, the thumbnails for the show, everything is done in Canva. They just tripled their price. And so everything is going up, but our income is going down. And so I'm at a place where I have to consider what is going to be the business model going forward. Is it that we're going to have to start charging for access to the show and not taking sponsorships? Because then we have to replace, I'm going to have to take a risk and say, well, do we give up the sponsorship money that we do have in favor of getting support from you, our viewers, and make the show private? But what would we charge? What would be the model? Is it that we combine it with Money Mission or combine it with something else? I do have something else in mind. It would be a subscription that could include taking stock and something else of high value. But what would that potentially look like? How many of you would we need to subscribe for that model to work? And how much would you be willing to pay? So I see one Coco said $1. I want one Coco. Marlene says 20. Thank you, Marlene. Appreciate that. SC says $10. I appreciate that as well. Sean says $15. Roswell say 89. Oh, I thought you were saying $89. This is what you were willing to pay, Roswell. She said 89 to $1 in 2011. Sean says that he would rather make a donation. I remember somebody pointed out a few weeks ago, they were asking me about Super Chat. I did look into Super Chat. Super Chat is not available for Jamaica. So unfortunately, that is not an option for us right now. Super Chat is through YouTube. They allow you to basically kind of like on TikTok where you can send creators money, but your comment gets prioritized if you spend some money. So like you might put out $5 for me to highlight your comment at the top, and your comment or your question gets priority. That's not available for us right now. One Coco says, maybe have daily live and recorded programs for businesses. One Coco, why want to give me so much work to do a daily live? Do you know how much effort it takes to produce just this show? This show alone. Sean says, if you had more content, I'd pay $20 US. It is one of the considerations. But the thing about it is that video content is very time consuming to create, which is why I had to discontinue doing the bottom line. It takes a lot of resources, a lot of effort, a lot of research, a lot of double checking. I have to do my makeup. We have to get the lighting right. We have to coordinate so many things. And so if I was to offer something else, it would be maybe a written. Let me know in the comments, what do you want to see? What would you pay for? So I am considering a paid email newsletter, which would require me to make more investment in the company. I mean, I have to hire somebody to go put this email newsletter together because the current team already has so much on their plate. This show alone takes so much. It literally takes all week, an entire week, for the team to produce Taking Stock. When you look at our production cycle, so the show comes out on a Tuesday. We do our production meeting for next week's show on Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, we are publishing content from the previous week's show. So this week, all the clips and everything are going to be found tomorrow, and the articles are going to be written tomorrow. The clips are going to be taken down tomorrow to be posted and sent out on Thursday. Thursday morning is our production meeting. Thursday afternoon, all that stuff goes out via email and all over social media. Friday is when they start executing on the ideas from Thursday's production meeting. So looking for the guests, booking people, finding other ideas for the show. Then you have the weekend. Some of us work through the weekend. Monday, finalizing the show, getting what's hot in business done, getting market recap done, doing all the research for all of those shows, finding all the clips to cover those segments. Tuesday, the promos go out and the show comes on. Wednesday, the cycle starts all over again. So it literally takes an entire week to get the show off the road with our team of people. So let me see what you guys are saying. Let me see. So I read this one already. Clarissa says, I will support Kalila. Tasha K did the same. Changed from YouTube to her own platform with sponsors and guests. Who's Tasha K? I should check out that person's model. Fidel says, Dear Kalila, I have some ideas that could help you in terms of the future of your program. I would share these ideas in person. Email me, Fidel. You put my email in the chat. It's kalila@moneymediaja.com. Terry says, do whatever is necessary to keep this important medium up and running. Thank you, Terry. Ryan says you can offer something like grower subscribers. What do grower subscribers get? I'm not a subscriber, so I don't know. What do they get, Ryan? I know grower is Randy Rose program, his education programs, a stock market investing program. What do the subscribers get? Silver, can creating a channel in the US be an option, maybe through an LLC for the super chat? I do have a US LLC. The issue is the location. So I'd have to use a VPN. And there are many things. First of all, there are rules around it. People still go around the rules. But I'd have to use a VPN. And the problem with using a VPN is that it's going to show the content to people in the location where I'm claiming to be. So it's not going to show it to Jamaicans as much as it does now. And right now, the majority of the viewers are in Jamaica. I know we have viewers all over the world, but it might not end up coming across your feed as it normally would because I'm using a VPN. So there's a trade-off to using a VPN. Let me see what else we have. Kamoy says, exactly, to get Super Chat, you can use VPN, so it will be available. And even so, I wouldn't want to rely on Super Chat because that takes, it's not consistent revenue. That would be the issue. That means that I would have to be relying on a few of you every week to make some donations. I don't know how much donation is going to be. I don't know how many people are going to make donations. It makes it more difficult to plan what we're doing with the show. Will it be enough to pay the staff? I don't know that I want to rely solely on something like Super Chat. Stronglink says, you don't need makeup, you're attractive enough without it, thanks. Shell says, no newsletter, we don't have the time, at least with videos, we can play it as background. So I was also thinking, Shells, that we do an audio version. So if you have a written newsletter, there could also be an audio version. We can just play and listen to the 5-10 minutes, whatever the roundup is. And you can listen to it as background as well. Let me see. Liferoot says, with all over, what would be reasonable? You tell me. Ian says 10 US. Fidel says he's going to email me. All right, thanks. Marlene says, what price would be profitable for you? Well, that's what I need to figure out, Marlene. And Shells says YouTube. Yeah, good point, Shells. YouTube takes a percentage of the Super Chat as well. I believe it's something like 40%. At least it might be more than 40%. Sean says, I would pay for the newsletter, but what is the content? These are just the ideas at this point. But you guys email me. Let me know what you think. Take the poll. Send me your ideas. How can we continue to make this sustainable? I got a note here to talk about the courses on Money Mission. Somebody in the chat asking about it. I didn't see that. Yes, guys, go to moneymissionja.com. And let me tell you, so the reason I had been reluctant to make Taking Stock paid or to do paid content for social media or paid emails as well is I've always felt like people don't like to pay for news. Like it's a difficult model to sustain. You see Gleaner, Observer, New York Times, they all have challenges getting people to subscribe, to pay for content. But I mean, I might just need to test it out and see for myself how that is going to work. And then when it comes to Money Mission, the reason I started Money Mission is that in producing financial news, I've realized that a lot of people want to know more, but before they can understand the news, they have to understand the core concepts. They have to understand what is an IPO, what is a stock, what are stocks, what is the stock market, what is trading, what's an APO, what is a rights issue. They need to understand the basics before the news will even make sense to them. Even though we try as much as possible to break it down to like the lowest common denominator, if you don't understand the basics, it's going to be hard for you to understand the opportunity that we are presenting to you via news. So all this whole conversation we just had about interest rate cuts, what does that mean if you don't understand how interest rates relate to inflation? Then you're not going to see the opportunity. And that's why I thought it was important to do the financial education side through Money Mission. And then the other thing I realized is that some people are not investing because they have too much debt, which means that they don't have enough money to invest because they need to focus on their debt, which is why I created the Debt Do-Over course. And then the other reason is that a lot of people just don't have any extra money, living hand to mouth, which is why I created the Build Your Budget course, which is the one that we're promoting this month. And so it starts with building your budget. And I use the term budget loosely because what we do in Build Your Budget is really create a 12-month financial plan for your money. It's more than just budgeting in the traditional sense. We are looking at how are we going to increase income? How are we going to reduce debt? How are we going to get investments in there? How are we planning for long-term growth? We're setting our money goals. We're doing all of this inside that foundation course, which is mission 1 in Money Mission. And then we're moving to the debt side. So if you have debt, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to make a plan to get rid of that. And then once we have mission 1 and mission 2 out the way, we start moving on to our wealth creation missions. Investing for beginners, real estate, small business systems, money marketing, and the ways that you can start increasing your income both in the short term and in the medium and the long term as well. So that's what Money Mission JA is about. That's the courses side. But even more than that, there is the community side. And what I envision for the Money Mission community is for it to be basically Facebook for finance, Facebook for money. This is where we will go to talk about money, to talk about, what do I think about the new IPO? What do you think about the new offer from whoever has this new offer? What are the investment opportunities right now? And, get perspectives from other people as opposed to doing it on, say, Twitter, where you are competing. You go on Twitter and, maybe looking for Finance Twitter GA content, but you end up getting distracted by Puff Daddy being arrested and all the developments there, and Trump and Kamala and Andrew Holness Integrity Commission report, and all these million other things that are happening on social media. But for those of us who just want a curated space to talk about money and learn about money, that's what I envision the Money Mission community to be the platform for, the place that we go to do that. And then if you want to learn more, you take one of the courses and you learn the basics and you start implementing that in your life as well. So let me take a few more comments before we wrap up the show. Let's see. Sean says it sounds like I need a angel investor. Might be time to IPO. Terry says, how about offering tiers to the subscription? Shell says, audio plus newsletter, that's more work. Thought you wanted less work. Audio is not very difficult to do, actually. Audio is very easy. They call me Miss One Take, by the way. So audio is very easy to record. So if we have 5 minutes, I could literally pick up my phone, attach my microphone to this phone, and get that done in 5-10 minutes and get that uploaded. It's low-hanging fruit, not like video, which requires a lot more effort. Roger says 10 US. Let's see. Terry suggesting the tiers: $10 tier 1, $15 tier 2, $20 tier 3. Strong Link says they're broke. Cash flow is very important. Roswell pointing out, before a company do IPO, they have to prove they're making good profits and need expansion. This program is not that. Exactly. Definitely not the time for an IPO right now. Sean says, I kind of knew this day would come because the content is really too good to be true. The only issue is if you set the price too high, you might price yourself out of the market. Yeah. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that the content is good. You find it valuable. And I know you're here every single week, so I get that. I would love if you could keep this aspect of the show free for exposure and create more in-depth, like BTS and extra content about what was discussed in the recent live. But this is the part of the show that costs the money to create. We have to pay staff. We have to pay videographer, editor, production manager, me. I need to eat too, Terry says, growing pains, Miss Reynolds. You're at a crossroads. Seek divine guidance. You will survive. 11 Coco says, the content is very good. I've been watching from the beginning, but cheaper is better for subscription. Set it and forget it. More expensive means less subscribers. Yeah. All right. So these are some of the decisions that we have to make in the coming weeks. I'm not saying that we're going to go that direction, but it is a possibility. it is an option. And right now we're just weighing all options and seeing what is going to be the way forward. Either way, I appreciate, your patience. I appreciate you guys being here every single week. It really means a lot to me. And I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing the show every single week as well, because it's something that was and still is needed in the space. When I created Taking Stock, nothing like this existed. Now we do have some options. I see Learn Growing Investors in the comments every single week. I see Limitless Podcast is in the comments as well. So you guys are doing your thing as well. So there are options, but to create on this level takes a lot of resources. And this is why nobody else has really done it on this level just yet, because it just so time consuming to commit to. Even the research that we need to do for every single show, not to mention when the guest cancels last minute, like what happened tonight for the analyst segment, having to be prepared on the spot. It ain't easy. It ain't easy, and it ain't cheap. So let's see. We'll figure it out. I don't think, like, to me, not having Taking Stock anymore is not an option. So we have to find a way to continue to fund it. And if is that, the sponsors aren't there right now because the market is down and all the financial institutions have a reduction in profit. And so the first thing that they do when profit is reduced is they cut marketing, which is spending on shows like this. Then we have to find another way to subsidize those costs. So it's a decision that we have to make very soon. And everything will be communicated with you, so you can make sure that you're on the email list. The email went out around 6 o'clock today, just asking for your opinion. And I will continue asking for your opinion, seeking advice. But the one thing I do know is that the show must go on. So we have to find a way, because I do think that this show is too valuable to just not exist anymore. And to me, that is not an option. And I'm glad that from what I'm seeing in the chat, for you, that's not an option either. So we're going to figure it out. We shall figure it out. Let's take our final break and come back with your last comments. Money is like a child at an amusement park. If you don't give it some rules and tell it exactly where to go and what to do, it's going to get lost and in trouble. If you've ever found yourself wondering, where did all my money go? Build Your Budget is for you. If you've been trying to plan for a big purchase but feel like you will never get there, Build Your Budget is for you. If you need a flexible spending plan, Build Your Budget is for you. And if you're spending more than you earn, Build Your Budget is for you.
And ever since downloading that budget and actually applying it, I paid off my credit card, I paid off my tuition loan, and I bought my first pair of toy birds. And it was in the budget.
How important it is to budget, how important it is to plan your money, to tell your money where to go, and how important it is to hold yourself accountable.
So, are you ready to accept this mission? Click the button below to get started. All right, let's take your final comments. Life Roots says, we'll make the sacrifice. This information is very important to us. Thank you, Life Roots. Sean says, I would love to contribute though, so we'll support in any way I can. Appreciate that. Stronglink says, yes, Cal, tough business decisions. Fight on. Roswell says, I like this show, so let's see how we can contribute to make it possible for all while we learn. Sean says, could you get another host to make extra content? Well, Sean, that would cost extra money because I would have to pay that other host to make extra content. So there you go again, further need for money. Charles says, why not ask for donation? Well, the thing about that is that it's not consistent enough. So what is the cash flow? It's hard for me to plan based on what people feel like donating this week or this month. Like, I need consistent cash flow to make sure that, we can pay staff, we can pay for the cost of production, we can pay the light bill, we can pay Digicel, we can pay, all the inputs that go into making this show and all the content possible. But thank you so much, guys, for the support and for the kind words and for the encouragement that you've shown this evening. Like I said, the show must go on. We will find a way, and everything will be communicated in due time. Thanks for tuning in every single week, as you guys always do from all over the world. I appreciate your presence. Make sure that you share this video with a friend, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed just yet. And thank you for watching. Thanks to the hardworking production team led this evening by the capable Sechelle Williams. Thanks to our guests for joining us, Dr. Che Bowen and Kadeen Mairs. And thanks to you for watching. I'll see you again next week. Until then, I'm Kalila Reynolds. Bye, and let's get this money.